Oh, is that recording?
Good.
Okay.
Well, hello there, Dr. Guzak, Matthew McWilliams, Chris Holman for Clutch Cameras, and we're here to discuss our Globus simulation with you, what we thought we did well, what we thought we didn't do well, our beginning strategy and how it changed throughout the simulation, as well as our head competitors, our big competitors throughout the thing, and what we learned overall. Chris, you want to recap how we did throughout the simulation?
Absolutely. We started off a little slow. Year 6, we were tied for 6th place. Year 7, we moved down to last place, which was our hiccup for the whole simulation. From there on, we kind of moved from being in last place in year 7, we moved up to 4th and 5th throughout the rest of the simulation. Kind of, it took us a little bit to get our bearings right, but we finally figured it out and moved up into 4th and 5th place. We played around with that for a little while, and then we made a solid 4th place finish for the 14th year decision. Overall, it was really good. Recap, we did well.
Yeah, and actually we finished out our 14th year. It was actually our highest numbers ever. We ended up with an 81 overall score, which for us, it was pretty high, and we were proud of it. Our main strategy coming in, we were going to do a differentiation strategy, best value, and throughout the practice we tried that, and it worked pretty well, but when we brought it into the game, we struggled with it, and that was our biggest flaw in year 7. We tried to differentiate too much, and the simulation did not respond very well. So after that, we took some of your advice and went with a lower cost strategy, and it seemed like that's what everybody was doing, so we had to still find a way to differ ourselves throughout the simulation through advertising, different promotions, and I felt like we started to do really well, and you saw those results in years 9 and 10 when we climbed from 8th place to 4th place over a 2-year period, and we did really well with that.
Absolutely. Throughout this whole time, I mean, we did really, really well, or so we thought, given the competition. Our competition, where we were really struggling, was with our immediate competitors. Obviously, everybody had them with their own little segments and our marketing strategies. Ours, throughout this whole simulation, were Galleon cameras, future pixels, and action cameras. We're all kind of competing for the same market share and the same differentiation strategies, going low cost or being obviously best value practice, best value rather than starting off low cost or high value or anything like that. So we all kind of shot for the same marketing strategy and the whole market share, and then after that we kind of realized all of this, that we were having issues competing against ourselves. So we started to differentiate a little bit more, and moving on into our different segments, kind of getting into a blue ocean strategy rather than where we were at right now with our competitors.
Yeah, and it seemed like a lot of people went the same strategies at the beginning, and Digicam went with their strategy, and it worked out well, figuring they led the whole way through.
Congratulations everyone for that one.
And I felt like we had to be able to predict if we moved here, if everybody else was going to move here. And that happened with Gallant quite a few times. We would move down, and they would move down as well. So we had to figure out what we were going to do to differentiate away from Gallant. We felt like we worked pretty well together on this project and on the simulation. We communicated really well. We found times to work together, even if one of us was out of town. We both had very busy schedules, and I felt like we did really well to keep our communication up. Our multi-feature segment was really well. We kept high market shares in most of the regions throughout the simulation, and our profits were up, and so that was really what we did. That really well. One of the best things, and something a young company needs to do is to learn from its mistakes, and I felt like we did that really well. Like we've talked about a few times already, we started off at the bottom, and we had to dig our way out, and we did really, really well to dig our way out of that huge hole that we had dug. We worked together. We found ways. We talked to you as our advisor and ways to increase our numbers throughout Globus.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We did well, and I agree with that statement. I think that because of our two-person team, both Matt and myself, it was a lot easier to coordinate our personal schedules around other schoolwork and then other just events that we had to be present at. And so the two-person team definitely was more beneficial and more easily manipulative than the three-person team would have been on efforts, getting everybody together. Things we did not do well on, however, were obviously our entry-level cameras. We definitely made our profits and all of our money in the multi-feature, and our entry-level was kind of on the side, basically.
It held us back.
Yeah.
It held us back.
It really was. It was our downfall, our pitfall, for sure. Other than that, we started out slow, and we realized that in year 7, year 8, 9, 10, 14, we all kind of just brought this back up. So we played catch-up for a lot of the time, which was unfortunate, but it kind of gave us a little bit more background into the actual simulation, kind of giving us a good idea of how everybody else was playing and how we needed to kind of get in there and play ball with them. So that was definitely good, and again, we learned from our mistake from that. Before that, we didn't really understand, like going through the simulation prior to actual year 6, so like the practice simulation, and then going into the real one, we didn't understand the sheer magnitude of the decisions. Like, there were a lot more in-depth than we had thought they would be, not to mention just more decisions than we even envisioned really would make a difference. So it was kind of nice being able to get through and working through them and kind of seeing what we could do here and what we could do there to change little things, and those little bitty changes made huge gains or huge losses, obviously, in some of our cases. But yeah, just the sheer magnitude of each decision and how you can just tweak them just a little bit to benefit or to not benefit, basically, and be your default. Yeah. So it was pretty bad, but we kind of learned how to do it, and we came up and we came back and we took fourth. So it was kind of exciting for us, especially being down at the bottom. But yeah, it was a good learning.
Yeah, I definitely think we learned a lot from this simulation. I think from the decision point, we learned that every aspect of the business can affect how you sell and what your profits, and if you're going to be a successful business or not, whether it be shareholders or R&D or product distribution, it all has a similar effect to how your numbers are going to result in. We also learned that good teamwork is key to a successful business. It doesn't take just one person. It takes a lot of people for a company to grow into something like an Apple or Microsoft. How those companies have grown, it's not just one person. It's people throwing ideas at each other and learning from those ideas and then branching off those ideas. I think we also learned that the business world is a lot like this simulation. You're going to have companies that just are there at the beginning and they stay there because they have that power, they have that market share at the beginning. And like us, we struggled, and if a company struggles in the real world, then it's going to take them a while to get back into a competing stance against the people like the Digicams and the BlackRocks. And I felt like we did that, and we learned from that, that mistakes can cost you a lot.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's everything we have for you this afternoon.
Afternoon.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.